Good evening. Welcome to Meet the Candidate Night. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I want to thank Barbara Epstein, Michelle, and Dania for helping out. They are volunteering from the League of Women Voters. We meet every year. This year went by faster, right? But I want to thank you for taking the time to be here. I want to wish the candidate good luck. And at this point, I'm going to turn the microphone to Barbara. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting us again. I'm Barbara Epstein, a member of the League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. The League never supports candidates and encourages informed and active participation in government. In keeping with our nonpartisan policy, myself and our timekeeper are not residents of this district. All are welcome to join the League. The League is not for women only. This time I'd like to introduce the candidates. We have John Paul Kopax and Joseph F. Larita Jr.
Yes.
All right, let me give a little clarification, which I just became aware of, is for what you will be voting for. And I'd like to welcome all of you that are watching us live stream as well. The day of the vote, which is May 21st, you will be voting for two candidates for two seats. The person who gets the highest total of votes will get a 4-year term. And the second one will get a 1-year term to fill the seat to be vacated as of May 8th. All right, so just for clarification for everyone. Okay. Thank you. Please also we request that you silence your cell phones, and please have questions for us. We always like questions. It's always important. And there are cards around. Rita has some cards. Feel free to fill them out and bring them up. Okay. Let me say the procedures that the candidates have agreed to. Already, as I said, is a member of the League of Women Voters from outside the districts. And we will rotate back and forth since there are only two candidates. Please have your questions confined to the issues in the campaign. Questioners make sure that their questions require 1 minute or less to read, that I should read. Each candidate will be allowed a 3-minute opening statement. After both candidates have spoken, I will read the questions that have presented here from all of you. Questions can be specific to a candidate or in channels in general, but both of them will have an opportunity to answer each question. Each candidate would then be given 1.5 minutes to answer your question. There is no rebuttal. The timekeeper is in front of you, giving you a 30-second, indicating when 30 seconds are up and when you finish with the stop sign. And candidates will have a 2-minute closing statement, and we'll reverse the order in which we start. Okay. Since the purpose of the meeting is to determine the candidates' views, you're the only ones that are speaking for yourselves. And you're not allowed to use any props, charts, or any visual, and distribution of any litter is prohibited. Recording of the debate must be approved in advance and will be only if agreed to by the candidates. Of course, we've agreed to live streaming as well today. All right, we will begin by opening statements. John, you begin first.
Sure.
Thank you to everyone for attending, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. My name is John Paul Kopaz, and I've been a resident of East Norwich for over 14 years, along with my wife Michelle and my 3 children, a daughter in 3rd grade, a son in 6th grade, and a daughter in 8th grade, all who attend school here in Oyster Bay. Having 3 of my children at various buildings and grades gives me a unique perspective on how the goals of the Board of Education are being implemented in the classroom and communicated to parents. Michelle and I have met many great families here in our community. We have spent countless hours at soccer and lacrosse games, at music performances and robotics competitions, engaging with other parents about ways to make our school district even better. I look forward to giving back to our community as a member of the Board of Education. I feel my background and professional experience makes me especially qualified to serve as a trustee. Education has always been a significant part of my life. I grew up on Long Island and graduated from SUNY Maritime College with a degree in marine engineering and a United States Coast Guard license. After working for several years as an engineer, I decided to return to school and earn a master's degree in secondary education at Hofstra University. For the past 17 years, I've worked as a high school mathematics teacher for Great Neck Public Schools. In addition, I earned an advanced certificate in educational leadership from Stony Brook University and work as a school administrator. 2 years ago, I was selected as a New York State master teacher for demonstrating a passion for teaching and learning in STEM. I look forward to joining the Board of Education and bringing that same passion and energy to our community. I'm confident that my skills and experience in education will be an asset to our current board. I consider myself to be a problem solver and a creative thinker. These skills, combined with my unique perspective as an educator, will be especially useful in navigating the challenges ahead. I'm very thankful for the education my children have received here in Oyster Bay. Oyster Bay offers so many opportunities for students to develop in the classroom, on the stage, in the gymnasium, or in the recording studio. I'm running for the Board of Education to continue to support and expand opportunities for all of our students. I'm a believer in the saying that a rising tide lifts all ships. An increased focus on academic excellence will benefit all students. I believe the input of every community member is valuable and should be considered by the school board. Having attended almost all Board of Education meetings this year, I have enjoyed hearing about the many successes that our students have achieved. I'm excited about the opportunity to help lead our district. I humbly ask for your vote and your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you, John. Thank you for the public for all being here. Anyway, good evening. I'm Joseph Loretta. Down. All right. Is that better? It's a little bit static. It's good. Move back. All right. 12 years ago, my wife and I moved here because we thought Oyster Bay was beautiful. Green lights on. Testing now.
Okay.
My wife and I moved here 12 years ago for the town's scenic beauty, its safe streets, its good school. All 3 of our kids go to school here. They're happy and they're excelling. Currently, I'm a real estate agent. I've been a realtor for 20 years, with it being my focus for the last 3. As a realtor, you make deals with people. You have 2 sides, and they have a goal that they're trying to achieve, although often the streets that they take to get there have different objectives. They have different people who are there to help them, and you need to corral all of them together in order to make that decision happen, that goal, the goal of a sold house. It's the same with the Board of Education. You have 7 different people on the board. They all have opinions. We have the public, their opinion. We have the people that we hire to give us advice. We need to corral all those opinions together in order to make the right decision for our common goal, which is the benefit of our kids. Public service. In 2022, I retired from 20 years of service as a policeman, 8 years in the city and 12 years in Garden City. In Garden City, Sector 371, was my post. We were the primary car responsible to responding to anything that happened in the Garden City High School, whether it's medical aid, it's arrests, unfortunately, lockdowns, lockdown drills. It's lockdown drill I'd like to point out the most, because the lockdown drills, I was often assigned to observe and monitor, and then report back to the superintendent, the principal, how it went, what needed to be improved, what needed to not be improved, what was good. But often I'd sit in these meetings and I'd say, is there somebody doing this for my kids in my school? I hope so. Now I can be that person. Now I can be that person for my kids and for our kids. Excuse me. Because as we all know, my eyes, with 12 years experience being the first person to respond to the scene, might see things differently than other people who would take this similar position, a doctor, an attorney, accountants who are, represented in the board very much. I'd also like to talk about other things that interest me. I'd like to make sure on the board that I maintain the sanctity of parental rights in the school, that you have been given this blessing to have this child. It's your responsibility to make sure that you're making the choices for their health and their medical concerns, that you're monitoring their curriculum and what goes in from their eyes. And that you have the option to opt out if there's something you don't agree with. See, I ran out of time. I thank you guys for being here. We love the school. Our kids are enjoying it here. And they're excelling.
Thank you. All right. Begin with questions first. John, we'll begin with you. And pause is good for opening statements. Please wait until after all the questions, and we'd appreciate your pause at that point. Thank you very much. John, start with you. First question, gentlemen. What do you think are the three major important issues facing the Board of Education this year?
The most significant challenge I see going forward is how to do more with less. As inflation grows and the cost of outside factors such as insurance, fuel, and transportation grow at higher rates, this presents a significant challenge. We need to be able to continue to maintain all of our programming and expand that programming while being constrained by the fiscal restraints of the 2% tax cap. That's a big challenge for our district, but I think we've done a great job so far on proposing this current budget, which does maintain all of our teaching faculty, which does maintain all of our programs for our students, but I'm sure that will be a major challenge in the years that continue. Academic achievement is a significant issue as well. I think that that's an important issue. It's the issue that I'm running on. I have some ideas on how we can improve academic achievement, and I look forward to working with everyone on the board in order to move that ahead. Another area I'd like to promote is robotics and pushing technology education down into Vernon. I think that students would benefit a lot from exposure to technology at an earlier age. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you. As I was touching on in the beginning, I'd like to make sure in this crazy world that we're currently living in, that our kids are safe in the school. And I'd like to participate in our safety committee in order to make sure of that. To be clear, I do think we do a good job in the school and our kids are safe. Parental rights. I'd like to make sure that you are the one making the decision for what's going in, decisions as far as health goes and medical issues. And I additionally also like to make sure that kids in the middle, kids that are not on the bottom, kids that are not on the top, are well represented. I think the school is making great steps towards that. I appreciate their television studio production. I appreciate the robotics program. And I'd love to see more things for kids to go for, like financial literacy training as a course.
Thank you. Next question. Joseph, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the current proposed budget?
I think the budget at $65 million is adequate. It is not it's good. It is not a major increase over last year's $64 million budget. And the kids are well represented. The things are funded. The programs are funded. Teachers are well paid. And I think the budget is sufficient.
Thank you. John?
I support the current budget. I believe that it's important to preserve all the teaching positions and all the other positions we have at the school. And like I said before, to continue to add programming and maintain all the current programming. So yes, I'm a supporter of the budget. I think the current budget and the current goals of the board are in alignment as well. And I agree.
Thank you. John, start with you on this one. What do you think, or what is your opinion of the current reading program used at the Oben elementary schools? OBEN elementary schools?
I was happy with the reading education that my children received. They seemed to benefit from the program that's currently being used. I think it's great to have parental involvement too when it comes to areas like reading and get feedback from parents about how they think the reading program is being implemented and how it's working for them at home and in the schools. And I think we should do both of those things, continue to work and continue to consider parental concerns or any feedback at all from parents about the reading program.
Thank you. Joseph?
Sir, could you repeat that one more time? There's a few words I was confused with.
What do you think about, what do you think, or what is your opinion of the current reading program used at the OBEN elementary schools?
Oh, great. Thank you. I think the reading program is excellent. I think all my kids have benefited well from it. They're excellent readers. They're voracious readers. I think that the PAR program is excellent, and having the parental involvement in in being able to come into the classroom, being able to have a theme, being able to have parents read in the classroom to the students is a great way to start off their career as early honors in education and learning to read.
Thank you. Our next question, Joseph, start with you on this one. What can the district do about the recent rise of racist incidents in our schools?
So currently at this time, in regards to our individual school, I'm unaware of any incidents that have been occurred or need to exist, presently need to be addressed. But racism is something that shouldn't be tolerated. Racism is something that needs to be addressed if it does happen. And no one should be excluded based on something they can't control.
John?
Well, I know the high school really recently hosted an international night where students were able to learn about other cultures, sample foods from other cultures as well. And I think that's really what we need to do, to educate students about other cultures, to reduce incidents of racism and expose them to the struggles of people that are different throughout time. So I think by educating people, that's a path to reduce problems like that.
Thank you. In the follow-up to the question I had before about the Oben school, if you could immediately change one thing about the Oben school district, what would it be, and why do you think this change is necessary in the Oben district? John?
I think a little broader than the Oben district, but maybe for the state, is the requirement for Regents exams for graduation. I know testing is necessary as a means to drive and inform instruction, but sometimes having high stakes tests that are required to be passed to graduate doesn't really work for all students. And if there was a way, I know the state is considering this now, introducing new paths to graduation that don't involve passing every Regents exam. And that is a nice change because it offers opportunity to all students. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
One change I'd like to make to OBIN that I see as an issue is I'm always surprised at the amount of students that start out in Oyster Bay school districts and the amount that end. So I'd love to look into that further and understand why do students leave. I'm extremely happy with the school, but students do leave. Perhaps we can set some kind of program in place, an exit interview, maybe that's already in place, I'm unaware. But why are they leaving, and what can we do to address that and make it better for them to want them to stay? There are certain things you can't fix. If you're looking for a religious education, that's going to be something you'll have to go somewhere else for. But what are the reasons why people leave?
Thank you. Joseph? What is your opinions on how to best handle bullying within the district?
Bullying in the district is, depending on its degree, the level of what occurred, needs to be handled by the administration. If it's more serious than that, more criminal, then of course we have to get the police involved. But we do a good job already addressing bullying, starting from the early ages with lectures about bullying, presentations about bullying. And currently, I'm also unaware that that's a big issue going on in Oyster Bay.
Thank you. John?
I think the number one job of the school district is to keep everybody safe. And bullying is an issue that needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with so that people feel safe. We would never want anyone nervous to come to school because they feel like they're being bullied or hesitant to attend class or anything else like that. So I think it needs to be dealt with in a firm and decisive manner, and that there needs to be a message sent that it's not acceptable and not tolerated. Thank you.
Thank you. John? How can we improve our test scores? John?
Yes. I think we need to really focus on academic achievement and really lock down on ways that we can improve. And one way that we can improve is a focus perhaps on clubs that are related to academics. I know my daughter shared a story once with me recently about the athletic director running through the hallways and trying to recruit people to join athletic teams. And he would ask, what sport are you joining? And what sport are you joining? And I think we could do the same or something similar with academic clubs, pushing a culture of academic excellence. I'd like to also see that pushed down into the lower levels too, into Vernon, and really develop that culture for our students, that we have high levels of expectation academically, and it's improving. I have seen improvement attending the board meetings and seeing the recognitions of the hard work of our students. That's been great as well, and I think we need to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you. Desire to do well in school starts at home. It starts at what you see. It starts at how you view education from your very early ages. It needs to be stressed at home. Homework needs to be pushed at home. A lot of education and success is not just at the school. There's only so much the school can do. It's in partnership also with what the parents are doing at home and what they're encouraging their children to do. As John said, though, making it exciting is very important also. Having that good teacher teach that subject that may not otherwise have interest to the students is important. grabs their attention and makes them want to know what's going on.
Thank you. Joseph? This one. It's following up similar to that. There's been a pattern of dumbing down education by eliminating tests. Tests are a part of life. How do we decrease the opt-out rate and improve our scores?
So I imagine they're speaking about test exams, state test exams, not just classroom exams. How do we increase the opt-out rate? Personally, I'll say this: my kids opt out of the tests. So how would I answer that question properly?
Thank you. John?
Could you repeat the question, please?
There's been a pattern of dumbing down education by eliminating tests. Tests are part of life. How do you decrease the opt-out rate and improve our scores?
Tests are an opportunity to practice in the lower grades, and you need to have tests to inform instruction. Also, tests are a form of feedback. So you as a student, you get to find out where you stand and where you need to improve. And in that regard, I support students taking tests and getting that feedback so they can improve. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, John, this one, start with you. Do you support increased focus on STEM above the minimum requirements, and how can we work toward that?
I think STEM is very important. I support increased funding and I support increased enthusiasm, and I would love to see programs such as robotics and science research really excel. I know that our school district has put a lot of effort towards that in the last couple of years. It was great to hear that the high school robotics team, I think it was second out of maybe 17 teams, which is amazing for a new robotics team. In addition, our middle school team has been doing great as well. So I love to hear that we're being successful at a pretty young in the program. We've experienced success. So that's nice to see. Science research too. I know that in middle school, some of the 8th grade students have gone to many science research competitions. They've had experience presenting, which is a great experience to have in front of other people. They've been able to present their research. They've gone on field trips out into the community to collect data. And I think we just need to keep expanding on that in our community and in our schools. Thank you.
Joseph?
Thank you. One more time with the question so I answer it correctly.
Do you support increased focus on STEM above the minimum requirements, and how can we work towards that?
Absolutely. STEM is the exciting part of school, I always thought. STEM with the robotics, STEM with it, how it relates to physics. We should definitely increase it. We should definitely support it. I'm sorry, one more time with the rest of the question. One more time with the question.
Sure. Do you support increased focus on STEM
Right.
above the minimum requirement, and how can we work towards that?
Right. Because going forward into our future, science is how we're going to progress. Science is how we do things in our culture. Technology, computers, interaction with computers. It's important to know how to create these people who will be filling these jobs in the future. So I do support increased learning and increased funding and increased classes beyond the minimum.
Thank you. Joseph. Okay. Moment testing. How can we improve our test scores? How can the district improve their test scores?
Right.
Any suggestions?
Right. Well, as I stated before, desire to do well in school begins at home. It begins at the accountability of the student with their parents. And it begins with you making sure you're doing the work, that you're not skirting around the work as the student and as the parent, making sure that your obligation to that student is there, that those students are reading, that those students are getting extra experiences in life to spur them on to want to do well in school. It's important that that they go to age-old methods of learning, whether that be repetition and flashcards. I've often wondered, where is the flashcards? Everything seems to be done on the computer. Everything is notebooks. And I ask them, well, how is it that you're studying? What is it that you're doing? And it's always something online, always something in front of the computer. So perhaps one of the ways we need to do to increase grades is to step back a little bit from all the technology and do some old-fashioned learning, flashcards, repetition, repeated homework problems. So it improves grades. Sorry.
Thank you. John?
I think time on task really helps improve test scores. The more practice you can put in, the more time you can put in, the better opportunity you will have to perform. I know sometimes when I've come to the high school to play pickleball, at night I've seen students walking in as well, and I think they were going to SAT review classes. So focusing on extra help outside of the regular class is great. I know we offer math tutoring throughout the day, I believe, in various places within the building, and I think that's essential also. I think it's important to make learning exciting for students also, so they want to learn and they want to be here. And I think the school has offered many opportunities to do that too, with experiences that are outside of the classroom, where they get to be involved, project-based experiences and experiences in the community. So together, all of those things are great ways to focus on academics and improve test scores.
Thank you. John, start with you. In this role as a Board of Education member, you would be the only mechanism we have to hold the administration accountable. How will you ensure they operate with an integrity and in transparency?
Yeah, so one of the roles of the Board of Education is to hire the superintendents and to monitor the superintendents, as he works to accomplish the goals of the school board. And I think for me as a Board of Education member, I would ask a lot of questions. I think my knowledge about schools in general and the school system will help me ask those intelligent questions. And I think that's what it's really about, being engaged and asking questions. And if you don't like an answer, you ask a deeper question, really probing and getting down and making sure that you receive an answer that speaks to the question that you're asking.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you. So how would I hold the superintendent and the rest of the school board accountable? The way I would do that would be making sure I'm actively present, actively listening in all the meetings. I believe Dr. Ani told us every Friday we receive a pamphlet of information directed to the school, what's going on in the school, what might be coming up in the next board meeting. It's important to be in that. It's important not to let that material go unread and just wing it as you welcome to the Board of Education meeting. It's important to listen to the public. The public's going to let you know what's going on when they have their complaints. Obviously, a complaint needs to be heard, and then both sides need to be addressed to understand what's the other side of the story. Understand, is there an issue? Is there not an issue? Similarly, for the other school board members, it's important to understand what's going on behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and know that what's going on in front of the scenes isn't exactly what is at play. So active listening, understanding. I feel, thank you, being a police officer, I'm very used to listening to people tell a story and know that the words they say aren't always what the meaning is. When we say the same words, they have different meanings. So often people have tells, and when they're saying something that they mean and saying something that they don't really mean. It's important to actively listening so you can hear these tells. Usually they give themselves away.
Thank you. Joseph? Budget votes typically only see 200 to 400 participants. How can we increase the turnout to better represent the town?
In looking at the numbers recently, I see that's not actually true for Oyster Bay. We have a very big turnout. Sometimes it's 800, sometimes it's 1,100. But oftentimes, it has to do with that the school schedules things to be on that same day. So they'll be at the school in order to see the event occurring for their kid, coinciding with the budget vote. So I think that's very smart. You know, this way we have active participation from the whole community. No reason not to vote.
Okay, thank you. John?
I do think the public is informed about the school board votes and has the opportunity to participate. It's publicized, I believe, on the school website. Mailers come home, so there is communication from the school district about the website, through the website and through the mailers, and it's up to the public to come out and make the time and let their voices be heard and vote.
Okay, thank you. John? What do you think the current Board of Education is doing well, and what do you think can improve?
Some of the goals from the Board of Education for this 2023-2024 school year include prioritizing experiences for students beyond the classroom setting. I attended the October 10th board meeting last year and was very impressed with Ms. Jilly Pack and her presentation about the fine and performing arts and the media arts advancements that are happening in their schools. This included the National Junior Honor Society being started for art at Vernon. She shared about all new courses that are now being offered for college credit in the district, including the symphonic band, TV production of Bay News Now, and the jazz ensemble, and there were many more. During this presentation, she also highlighted opportunities for students to go out in the community and interact with local businesses and local professionals. And I thought that was a great presentation, a great success, and it was really nice to hear how those changes are helping our students. I think school culture is something else that has really increased in the last couple of years. Events, traditions, and celebrations that are part of school culture that make each school unique. And this year we have so many things going on in our district, like Color Wars and Bay News Now, the football game under the lights, performances at Madison Square Garden, Carnegie Hall, early morning pep rallies, and many more. And these experiences are great, and I think the school has done a great job of making people feel like they're part of the community and part of the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joseph?
Well, I think the school board has done an excellent job in two particular things. I know one of their goals was to televise all of the board meetings. We've successfully been able to do that. I know that the school board was interested in creating more financial literacy. I saw that recently we had Financial Literacy Week, or was it Financial Literacy Month, going on here. Spectacular. I love that the school board allows for programs in the music department to allow kids to go to Carnegie Hall, to allow kids to go to Madison Square Garden. Spectacular. I like that the school and the school board is willing to give permission to have News 12, not News 12, but the news program come and represent our school on 5 o'clock in the morning program. And that's enough. The school board is doing a great job in representing the school to the greater public at large and representing it in a spectacular way.
Now, obviously, you both be members of the school board. So the issue is, which one of you gets to have the 4-year term and what gets the 1-year term? why should people decide which one of you, why should they choose you for the 4-year term?
Right. The reason why they should choose me is because I think John is an excellent candidate also, but my goals are to make sure that the parents in the school are being represented properly and that their decisions are, but their rights are represented, that they are able to make the decision for, am I getting a vaccine? Is my kid not getting a vaccine? Is my child learning something in school that they should or should not be learning? Those are things I like to go forward to making sure continue to happen. I'd like to make sure that we have issues like Title IX covered. Title IX, if you're not aware, is something that makes sure that girls' sports stay for girls, that funding for girls' sports remains, and that it was never meant to be funneled, to other sports. That was its real purpose, unlike its purpose when it was revised in 2021 to represent what is nothing familiar anymore. And if I get the 1-year term, I plan on running for the next 4 years.
John?
I'm running for the school board because I feel I have the skills necessary to help our district move to the next level and expand opportunities for all of our children. My engineering degree is evidence of creative problem-solving skills that are needed to address complex issues. My knowledge of the school board, both as a parent, a teacher, and a school administrator, also makes this a natural fit. As a teacher in Great Neck, I know what excellence looks like, and I look forward to engaging in conversations about how to make Oyster Bay schools even better. I'm running to promote academic excellence for all students. I would like to expand opportunities for STEM down at Vernon and into the lower grades. I would like to help establish a culture of academic excellence. I would also like to see the school increase offerings for internships throughout the school year and during the summer. It would be great to see students have opportunities with professionals in the community, so they can partner with those professionals and learn what certain occupations are like. Also, I would love to see them our students partner with local colleges for research opportunities, which would allow them to develop other opportunities for research at higher levels as well. Thank you.
John? What do you feel are the role and responsibilities of a Board of Education member? Be specific.
I think there are 3 goals or 3 responsibilities of the Board of Education. One is to set policy for the school district. 2 is to hire the superintendent. And the 3rd is to monitor the implementation of the school board's goals through the superintendent. So I look forward to being a part of that, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited to help our community, and this is what I do on a daily basis, and it's exciting for me, and again, thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Right. I think the 3 responsibilities are budgeting, hiring, and
What do you
holding.
feel are role and responsibilities of a Board of Education member? Be specific.
Right. I think the roles are governing hiring, budgets, and holding people accountable to do what they're hired to do. I think that sitting on the board, you work in conjunction with the other 7 in order to perform that task. Individually, you may not have any authority, but in that group, you do. So it's important to work as a group. It's important to reach into your paperwork and make sure that goals that you're setting forth for either your employees or yourself as a board have an end, have a look. What does it look like when it's over? That's how you measure if you had success. What was your end goal? Did you reach the goal? If you didn't reach the goal, you weren't successful. So hiring, accountability, and budgets are 3 of your main priorities as a board member and responsibilities.
Thank you. Okay. This is the last question I have, so if anyone else has another one, let me know. What do you think is the biggest challenge in the world of education within the United States? Joseph.
What I think the biggest challenge is in the world of education in the United States. That's great. As we spoke about today already, we need to address lowering school scores. We need to make sure that kids are in school, that kids are learning, and the best way for kids to learn is in school, as we discovered through Corona. So, being in school, having excellence in teaching, having excellence in their parenting at home, learning the material that is given to them to study are the way we're going to get there, as increasing our grades. So increasing our grades is one of our largest challenges nationwide.
Thank you. John?
I think one of the biggest challenges in our schools today is distraction and engagement. There's so much distraction and stress in students' lives today that it has the potential to prevent them from being focused on academics. And learning about how to deal with stress, learning about topics such as goal setting, communication, healthy use of social media, how to develop grit, expressing gratitude. These are all topics that can have students be self-reflective and give them a better platform to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, unless we have any other questions, we will do closing statements. Joseph, start with you.
Thank you.
2-minute closing.
2-minute closing. I'll make it briefer. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and speak. Some things I'd like to accomplish on the school board, as I was saying in my intro, is I'd like to focus on the safety. As we know, we don't have to look too far to know that our world's a little crazy. We don't have to look too far in our own city to see. So I'd like to make sure that while our kids are in our schools, that they're safe. I'd like to make sure that our staff is held accountable for what's being taught in our schools. I'd like to make sure that our parents are the ones making decisions on the curriculum, on the health care of their child, not the school. I'd like to make sure that grades are improving and that progress, accountability is held for issues like, for instance, the hiring of the principal. I'm not blaming anybody, but I would like to understand exactly what is the process for hiring one. What is our relationship with OLAS? How do people get hired? So that coming this summer, as we hire a new principal for the middle school, we don't have these same situations occur again. Some of the main reasons why I'm here. Thank you.
John?
Thank you all for attending or for viewing remotely. Thank you to Joe and thank you to the League for hosting our event again. Our school district has made significant improvements in the last few years. I am running for the Board of Education to build on that success and take our district to the next level. I am running to promote academic excellence in our school district. This means supporting each individual student so they can maximize their individual potentials. I promise to represent all children and advocate for the best interest of all students. My candidacy offers a new and fresh perspective to the board. Additionally, my candidacy offers stability for the long term. My engineering background as a problem solver, combined with my experience as a teacher and school administrator, will be an asset to the current board. A successful board member must be a good listener, must be able to build consensus, and to ask intelligent questions. In addition, they must be dedicated, accessible, and fair. Most importantly, they must be able to make decisions while keeping in mind that students come first. I believe I embody all of these characteristics, and I humbly ask for your support on May 21st.
Thank you. Now you have an opportunity. I want to thank the candidates and you here in person, and those of you live streaming us. Please remember, surprise everyone and get more people out to vote for school board candidates and for your budget on Tuesday, May 21st. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
And have a good evening.